The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other members of the fluorine family that are added to Western water supplies are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the people that drink it. So the question is, why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We developed the Fluoride Shield to be the highest quality, highest standards, because I use it every day and my family uses it every single day. Let's take a closer look at the ingredients that make up this special proprietary formula. Tamarind has been celebrated for its ability to immobilize toxic fluoride residues, while zeolites have a long history of attracting and holding toxic compounds. Enter fulvic acid, an excellent cleansing agent. Then we added the highest quality shilajit, a rare compound that is collected from the high mountains of the Himalayas. We topped it all off with the powerhouse herb cilantro that is intended to mobilize fluoride and other dangerous compounds for removal from the body. And the final touch to energize this formula is our proprietary nascent iodine. And as always, consult your physician as well, because that is important. And finally, Fluoride Shield, Survival Shield, and all the products at InfoWarsLife.com grew out of my quest to try to find the very best compounds from God's cornucopia to protect myself and my family. And from our research, I believe we are bringing you the best, highest quality products. And you have that commitment from Alex Jones and the entire InfoWars crew.
It's no secret that some of the entertainment industry are pushing a gun control agenda. Famously, we've seen celebrities, many who tout bodyguards and or live in gated communities, demand a plan.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
Enough.
Now, with much fanfare, comic book icon Archie will be murdered. But he won't be killed on a trip to Chicago, the city that has the strictest gun laws but still has a sizable amount of gun violence due to the failed war on drugs. No, Jughead's pal will be killed defending a senator who is a gay rights advocate running on a strong anti-gun platform. It's my understanding that the killer's actions are at least partially motivated by his views on gay marriage. As a side note, the feds who are sent to defend the senator carry revolvers, while the murderer himself carries a semi-automatic pistol, likely with what would be considered a high-capacity magazine. I'm a huge comic book fan, but the thing I've always noticed about these comic book cities is they oftentimes seem to have very strict gun control laws, because oftentimes the only people carrying a gun is either the police or a criminal, sometimes one and the same, but rarely do you see a law-abiding citizen defending themselves with a firearm. So whether it's paper and ink or movie moguls like Harvey Weinstein saying that Second Amendment advocates will wish they were never born after seeing his anti-gun films, the right to bear arms is under attack from all angles. You can find more reports at InfoWars.com.
Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield, true nascent iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund INFOWARS.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com. Tonight, we quite frankly have some extremely shocking information, and that's in a news system that is just full of incredibly disturbing things. And we bring you this information not to scare you, but to hopefully cause a debate in this country about the serious things that are happening so we can reverse what's unfolding. The Department of Homeland Security is always saying that if you see something, say something. Well, historically, when you see government buying billions of bullets, openly saying the American people are the main terror threat, openly saying that Christians and gun owners are the #1 threat, even above al-Qaeda, and buying thousands of armored vehicles and admitting that they plan to put regular army on the streets of every major city and town. And the government sets up a rural affairs commission run by Northcom and the Department of Defense to keep an eye on rural communities. While our government is openly funding al-Qaeda and ISIS in the Middle East, you know that treason is taking place. And so we have seen something, and we are saying something. And viewers out there, one of them will just go by CB, in places like Georgia, are the HUMAT, or the true organic human intelligence, and our eyes and ears. And that's why InfoWars.com every week breaks national news stories that get picked up by thousands of publications and national television, because we are engaged in real journalism here. We go wherever the truth leads us. Now, we've seen a long slide towards a paramilitary police state in this country. I've been talking about it for a long time, made 4 films on the subject since the late 1990s, and we are now here. They've gone from denying that this is happening to admitting it. I struggle to put a headline on this. Regular Army trains to inter Americans. Regular Army trains to take over U.S. cities. But that doesn't encompass how bad this is. The Inde Posse Comitatus, which it is, the 1878 law banning regular Army engaging in law enforcement operations in the states. That's why the governors call out the National Guard, not the, quote, big Army. This is a big deal. And in 2007 and 2009, in the Defense Authorization Acts, in the National Defense Authorization Acts, they basically removed it and said, don't worry, we won't, abuse this new power. As we see military at kite festivals in Austin, and we see the National Guard going under the president, not under the states. It's a major transference of power from the already weak states to the out-of-control central government, and there's a massive ratcheting up from this training being secret when I first started reporting on it in 1996 to it now being out in the open. Back in 1996, 97, 98, I would go show urban warfare drills. They were practicing to confiscate guns. And the information was so shocking that they would have the media come out and say, no, Delta Force was not in Houston, or Delta Force was not in San Antonio, until I went and interviewed police chiefs and others that said, no, they're here and they're buying people off. It appears to be a covert takeover plan. Now, that was Clinton. Now, under Obama, it's gone into full gear. Bush was involved in it as well, but just a fact, under Democrats, this stuff goes into high gear. And again, they're saying domestically, Tea Party, Christians, veterans, are the terror threat, not al-Qaeda. That is sensational information. And hopefully, if you get this video out to people, we're about to get into the details, we can get a debate going in Congress and at the state level about this. In fact, you out there as viewers have already spurred a debate about this. I talk to congressmen and women all the time on and off air, and they say they're having hearings on this precisely because of your work. So understand that here. It's like a horse and carriage, or it's like a lock and key. It goes together. You are the reason we know about this. This information you're about to see that is big army, regular army training to put black people behind barbed wire. I mean, that's the footage that you're about to see that a local who works in the area, I'll leave it at that, keeps seeing really scary stuff going on at the base. He sent us some photos of lockdown cities, of collapse, of the highway shut down, of the military training for all sorts of draw and quarter and confiscation, blockading of cities and roads. He sent us some photos we're going to show you they took with his GoPro from the highway, but he directed us to the YouTube website of Guardian Centers, which is the privately owned facility that gets government contracts where this is going on. Now, this does not reflect on Guardian Centers. They've got all sorts of legitimate firefighter, police training, military training going on there. The issue is the training, not the center. That the specifics of their own video about Guardian Center shows us hidden in plain view in between the images of the fire department getting people out of flooded cities to the military apprehending, arresting citizens and handing them over to the police, just like we saw in Katrina with the gun confiscation that they first tried to deny. That's the issue, is that we've been told by the military, we have the documents, we've covered it, that the military is training for national gun confiscation. It's already begun in many different states like New York and California. And again, they don't want this being debated. They just want it to slowly be implemented, and that's why we're breaking it down. So let me just give you some of the background on this, the latest developments. Here's an article from 2009. The Pentagon wants authority to post almost 400,000 military personnel in the U.S. from the Progressive, but it was also in the Associated Press at the time. And they are now moving the troops back out of the Middle East and other areas to the United States for what they call Brigade Homeland, that is famously also in the Stars and Stripes and Army Times. Here's another one, Clarksville Online, 101 airborne soldiers to conduct air assault training in Troy, Tennessee. Again, this is all conditioning the public, the troops, everybody to just accept this. So the troops aren't villains in this. In fact, they're the most awake group out there because of this going on. We're talking about the training that's being directed from the White House and the National Security Council. Not about Guardian Centers, not about the troops. I want to be clear, because we've learned the propaganda they use on the police and military is, see, they're criticizing you and you're just training to help people. No, we're pointing out what's going on inside of these larger operations, the real operations. Here's another one. Accepting FEMA camp prisoners for illegal immigrants justifies them for Americans. We're going to go through this, then get to the footage of the black people being thrown in basically the FEMA center, the mock FEMA center. Again, back in 2011, we posted articles warning of the fact that under Rex 84, which is a public plan, they would use the collapse of borders as a pretext to suspend the Constitution and bring in martial law. And at the Guardian Centers, the training is moving towards what is clearly civil emergency or martial law. And right here in this article from 2 years ago, where they were finishing the center, they admit they have a whole area to simulate New Orleans' 9th Ward and what was done there, and to be submerged just like Katrina, just like the gun confiscation that we witnessed there. There's also a CNN article that breaks this down. Take a tour of the Doomsday Disneyland. And again, that is this Guardian Centers facility, one of the largest in the world, where this is going on. And here's the issue. Why don't they use military bases for this? Because it's not traditional and sends up red flags to have police and military together training at a military base, even though that's going on covertly. So they're now doing it at these giant private centers. Now, let's go to the big enchilada before we get to the video. Internment resettlement operations, we broke this a couple years ago when it was sent to us by military sources. After that happened, they posted